Hello, 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 everyone. Happy, as George puts it, Indictment Tuesday. So, in other news, the market pulled back a little. Good afternoon, Patrick. Good evening, Charles. Great day of data for Charles. Coco is still alive. Time to sell. Do you want me to ban this account? Because you know what? Now it's time to sell. So have you changed your tune? Is this the Coco Still Alive account? Don't push my buttons right now. So, if it's constructive and you want to discuss things, anybody is welcome. But if you're gonna come on, just like the other one also, who just comes on and parrots the same inane stuff, just like if somebody came on every time and said the market's going to crash tomorrow, it's not worth it. Life's too short. So, imposter Coco, not feedback. You're not the imposter. Good evening, Anissa. By the way, sorry I got back again about a faster session. No Bob today. He's caught in traffic, and by the time he get home, he called me a few minutes ago. Then he has a hard stop. There will be like 5 minutes of Bob. So he's going to come on tomorrow morning. I said, don't even bother. Let's just do it because I just got to get through some stuff and come on tomorrow morning. All right. Market, big reaction to the JOLTs numbers. Pretty big. This was a big miss to the downside. But the market acted like the bottom fell out. I mean, it's amazing what the CME FedWatch tool did. Also, JOLTs jobs quits is higher. We had Fed Cook speaking, Mester speaking in a bit, but that's what everything reacted to. Economic optimism coming in better than previous and a little better than forecast. Tomorrow, got again, Mortgage Wednesday, ADP employment numbers, which will be a little more highlighted because of the non-farm payrolls this Friday. Balance of trade, ISM non-manufacturing PMI. So this is the service industry, and watch the prices and employment components of that. So that's 30 minutes after the open. Then crude traders, you have your EIA numbers, and that's it. That is it. Here's your, financials pulled back, industrials, specialty industrials. Amazon was up a little. Meta was up a little healthcare, so a little rotation into some things. Utilities with the drop in rates went up. But I'm still calling this a red day. Nvidia pulling back a bit. So now we get to start watching on the next bounce for the secondary reaction. The only thing that was positive today were utilities and comm services, everything, and healthcare was sort of neutral. Everything else was negative. Here, look at this. Here's how insane the market is. Here's how insane. So you get one bad JOLTs print. So pause in May, pause in June, pause in July, cut September, cut November, cut December, cut January, cut March, cut May. So by next May, a little over 13 months from now, you're back to 3.25 to 3.5. Insane. So okay, we keep it paused until midsummer and then starting in September. Goodbye. Wow. The market does not believe the Fed at all. And all it took was one JOLTs number. Fear and greed in neutral. There we go. After the close, nothing in terms of earnings. We don't need to focus on that. We just have to get to the markets. Hey, Paul. Welcome to the Banana Republic, formerly known as United States of America. You're probably referring to the indictment and arrest of Trump. You'll be able to ask Bob questions. Gold, yeah, gold ran off to the races. When the market will close? Did you mean, well, today in 20 minutes? Futures market is open on Friday. The stocks are not. Yeah, the Fed watch is having a I mean, that's a massive cut. Now, what happens if we get what I think we're going towards stagflation with inflation stuck at higher levels and recession? The recession's been in the cards, but all right, so you had a pullback. People are like panicking today on this pullback. Look at this. This is a panic day? I mean, people I talk to, they're like, oh, the market. Little higher, but not that big on volume yet. That's just blah, blah. So, remember we hit the area for the ABC correction and the harmonic and then reversed. Coming back down, not much. I mean, come on. This is not a catastrophe. Not a catastrophe. So, remember, we were also looking for the beginning of this week. Now, got some nice momentum. Hope everybody spotted the momentum bars. Also, the Russell. Remember, I said look to the Russell. If we go down, the Russell is the first thing to turn to. Let me just go there. Look at the Russell. Russell. And this could have been used on the 15-minute, triggering this, and then making a double right in front of the second target. So, that's where that stands. What else? Walmart down 1.5% after guidance. Thank you, Sterling. So, where do we sit? Today is just the beginning of a top. Well, I do agree. I think we're going to get a nice, I'm going to watch for the secondary reaction and then the bigger rollover play. This is not the top, but there will be a major top coming in soon. Soon, from my perspective. But we got a really nice, really nice little mini correction so far with daily cycles at the top, weekly cycles getting to that top. When we get daily, we could get that drop, the bounce back up, a nice secondary reaction, and then top cycles will be interesting, especially if we get a bigger topping formation. So where do we sit? Where do we sit now? I'd be paying attention, by the way, to today's low. Today's low, then I'd be watching the pullback below today's low. If we start to break that, not necessarily during the Asian session, but European or tomorrow morning, 4088 to 4100 would take us back to the daily rotation zone. Overnight, let's see, you got this little. By the way, when we go into overnight sessions with a pattern like this against a little rotation zone like this 1 hour, I wait for a higher time frame close. That's the only thing. Could take us back to 4150. 4 hour, if you look at the 4 hour catching on the bottom of the rotation zone, close back in it, and this making this little reversal pattern. So let's see how that holds up tomorrow. NASDAQ, DAC. We had, that was a little echo effect. The double is still in place, but this down move didn't even confirm it yet. Didn't even confirm or trigger it. And there's not really, this is sort of a mess. You know, if it did get back above this 13,250, I would just use some intermediate targets like 13,279 and 13,316. Other than that, the double's still in play again, catching on the bottom of the rotation zone and 25% harmonic in the prior support and holding there. So I'm also watching more so than today's low, if this double triggers. The Dow. No little double bottom, by the way, at the end of the day. If it continues to rally, I just use the targets from the from the clear path. And the first target actually would be 33,650 and then 33,760 area. Other than that, I will watch today's low in the Dow. We start breaking below that. And because this tested the breakout support that we broke out from yesterday. If we break below that, then I'll be watching the rotation zone. The Russell, first, second targets hit. You got this little mini thing going into the close. Would that invalidate this bigger double? No, it would just take it back to the breakdown point. Again, I'd at least need the 1 hour close, and I'd preferably a 4 hour close. Sure can. Thank you for tuning in. Good afternoon, Martinez. I looked at them more in the past, but they've gotten really skewed recently. So, you know, they've gotten more and more skewed ever since we've had the COVID hit for some reason. So it's not as predictive. A lot of stuff is gone. Fantastic, Coco. But I thought you bought every dip. Are you buying today's dip? So what? Reagan years, the good old Reagan years. Sterling born in 71. I was born in 70. I remember the Reagan years. Oh, it's VIX. VIXy. Still. I mean, there's just no fear. Even with the market, I mean, there's no fear in this market. Although, based off the rate expectations, it would seem like the bottom was falling out. But look, nothing in the VIX. The DAX, watching the low today for the pullback move, but that would just be first 15,650 area and then about 15,565, 570. Notes reacted like it was the end of the world. This double that never triggered is pretty much off the table. Going to be seeing now on a weekly basis if the bigger double triggers. That's what I'm watching. By the way, with this extended pullback, I'm raising the harmonics. This is a better anchor point just for anybody playing along at home. The double and yield, the double bottoms off the table in the 10s. Remember, we had the little double top in the 2s. This other one I'm just taking off the table. This came down, first and second targets are hit. 10-2s, not much movement today based off the futures. Dollar index finally hitting that 87.5. So, big question is this a big potential double? Yes. Will it ever trigger? No idea. But we hit another very key area in this. So it doesn't mean we have to stop here, but remember we closed below the 62.5. Little pop to the rotation zone. We've hit the 87.5. Watching to see how it looks in this bottoming area. Crude still, this did not invalidate the double yet, but it needs a close below 79 to trigger. Lower probability against the rotation zone. If it does break to the upside, next target 83. Then about 84 to 85. Natty gas, nothing going on there. Double still technically in play. Gold, breakout. Remember, triple top slightly favors a continuation pattern, holding the rotation zone. Coming up, and then today with the sell-off breaking out, 2040 was the next target area I've talked about. We even talked about it this morning. There you go. Next target, 2065. Key support coming in anywhere between about 2016 and 1997. But I'm also watching for a more substantial, this is going into potentially a longer topping pattern. So, getting a really nice 5-wave impulsive advance. What else do we have? Silver also rallying. Big rally. It's huge. Huge rally in silver. Huge. I don't know why I felt like saying that today. So, next, by the way, your next target's the silver, 25.38, then cluster, 25.84 to 25.98. Copper rolling over again with potential economic slowdown because of the JOLTs numbers. Recession call. Nothing really new on the JGBs. Yen rolling over too. So based off the little short-term harmonics, if we get the close below 131.86, watch for a retest of the lows. Euro coming up to 87.5, so I'm watching for a more substantial topping pattern up here. The big double top is not off the table. Pound, you know, after it hit the harmonic area today, nothing else new. If on a continued rally, 126 is next target. Bitcoin still in consolidation. Watch the bottom of the rotation zone now for early warning. That'd be about 27,150 on a closing basis. Tesla still holding in support. Nothing new. Nothing new. What else can one? The SQQQ. Well, I have to punch it in right. The SQQQ, which again, these ultra pros, they're nightmare. Target, I mean, it's just the inverse, leveraged inverse. On a break, here's what I'd be watching. A break of about 330.30, my target area would be 31. On a continue, and that would be at least for partial profits because of the nature of the way these things trade. I gotta be more aggressive on profits going into this. And then, let's see. I'm looking. It's gonna be right around there. About 32.30 to 32.50 would be the next key area. All right, so that would be the intra-break play. Above this 32.30. And those would be the key levels I'd be utilizing. Why? Because again, it's against the daily rotation zone. Look at it's against the weekly rotation zone. So most likely, if you're going for a longer term play, on a NASDAQ drop, which would be a rally in this, the aggressive play would be now to the upside. Then I'd be watching for the secondary reaction pullback and to form a stronger pattern, especially a stronger topping pattern in the NASDAQ. And then really look for a more significant bottoming play. So I would not personally, from my standpoint, would not get overly greedy. Just like on a NASDAQ pullback, yeah, could it pull back? Very easily. Am I expecting a pullback? Yes. Is this a big pullback yet? No. Even if we pull back in the rotation zone, it's not a big pullback. Then we get the secondary. The secondary is the best thing you can look. One of the best things you can learn to look for in a market move, because it literally either makes a fantastic topping pattern or it shows you how strong or weak the market is in making a topping pattern. So, how to backtest, right? Basically, the best way now is I learn Python. You can do some in TradingView. Better, you learn to use Python. And you can do automated testing in Python. That's beyond the scope of this channel. So, can we look at UVXY? Yeah, there you go. UVXY, I'd be watching if it breaks about above 480 intraday. If you get momentum in the downside markets, and this can get above 480, or the VIX, if you're just watching the VIX, it's got to get momentum above 20. Momentum above 20, not just a dink move. All right? That's the only thing, if you're looking for a long play in UVXY, that I'd be watching for. There's no great pattern. So I'd be watching the VIX above 20 or UVXY with momentum above about 480. Roblox, please. Roblox. Well, you hit the 75s multiple times. Still holding up here. Let me make sure nothing shifted here. Based off let me just see where the most recent swing harmonics gave it. I mean, you're in it, it's pulling back slightly, but until this really starts getting some closes below this key support levels and the market really rolls over, I wouldn't worry about it. If I was looking for targets the upside, my next area, it just hit this 4760 area. So again, I'd be in trailing mode personally, unless somebody was really aggressive and did a breakout from yesterday. 49 would be my rough next area, and then 49.85, and that would be my major topping area. Dependent on what the Nasdaq's doing. All right, I'm just glancing at Apple real quick. So that's about it. Again, I got to keep this a shorter session. We had major hail this afternoon. Don't know how my roof looks. I got to get some dogs out before the next round of storms comes in. We've been in a bad storm session for a few days, so that's why it's a shorter session. Bob will be on tomorrow morning. So if you want to get Bob's thoughts, tune into that. And with that, I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.